one of the things that drew me to this company is that we've only got a couple of products, right? We're a $200 million company, and we really got only 3 products now, and the third one came out about a couple of weeks ago, right? So that's a pretty good place to be in terms of opportunity. So let's talk about the first product for a little bit, Protandim. How many people know Protandim? I've known Protandim for years and years before I came to LifeVantage. I used to run a little product development company that would develop products for lots of other big nutrition companies. And the reason I knew about LifeVantage and Protandim specifically is because people would ask me questions about it all the time. So many questions that I would have a little document that I could just copy and paste the answer into the emails that I would get. And what I would usually tell people is, look, don't try to poke holes in this product because you can't. It's got, at that time, it didn't have 20 studies like we have now, but it had enough studies where it was a robust, scientifically validated product. So I would tell them, you know, if you want to tell somebody that your business opportunity is better than LifeVantage's, you can't say that your product is better, but you could say that you have more products than they do, because at the time they only had one. You could tell them, that's about all you can tell them. Because it is such a different kind of a product out there, right? So a lot of times what people will do is they'll look at Protandim and they'll think it's just an antioxidant. And that's a little bit of a problem, because the antioxidant effect of it really is just the tip of the iceberg. It is an antioxidant, and that's a good thing, because you heard in that video that this idea of being out of balance in terms of free radicals and antioxidants is associated with tissue damage in every single tissue in the body, right? It's really at the core of the aging factor, the aging process in and of itself. So you can look at this and you can see if you're being over-oxidized in your blood vessels, that's associated with hypertension and heart disease. If you're being over-oxidized in your joints, it's associated with arthritis. If you're being over-oxidized in your brain, it might be associated with dementia and Alzheimer's and things like that. So you can look at that and go, wow, that's a great place to be, and you can build a massive business around that. But the future of this is how it works. The way that Protandim works is that it's not an antioxidant in and of itself. You're not taking antioxidants. When you take Protandim, you're making antioxidants. You're making your own antioxidants in your body. And that's a revelation to a lot of people, because most people, even medical professionals, don't have an appreciation that every single cell in our bodies has a system built into it where we can produce our own antioxidants. We can protect ourselves from the oxygen-rich environment that's around us, right? So if we didn't have that, if we didn't have this coordinated system of protective antioxidant enzymes, we couldn't survive on planet Earth. We couldn't sit here right now and breathe in and breathe out. We'd be creating so many free radicals just from our metabolism that we'd die. Our cells would not be able to withstand that if it weren't able to activate this protective system. Is that logical to everybody? That's kind of scary when you think about it. If we didn't have this, we wouldn't have been able to survive as a species, right? All of our cells would die because of over-oxidation. But this system, so here are some of the most prevalent free radicals. Things like hydrogen peroxide, things like superoxide. Those would damage cells, right? They would damage cell membranes, they would damage mitochondria, which are the little places in our cells that make energy. It would damage our DNA, our genetic material. But these enzymes that we produce, things like catalase, things like superoxide dismutase, things like glutathione peroxidase, those are internal enzymes that our cells make to shield us from those damaging oxygen molecules. Logical for everybody right now? Yeah. So, if we have that built into all of our cells right now, doesn't it make sense to just activate it? Yeah. To keep ourselves healthy, yeah. To keep our cells from being damaged, to improve our tissue health and our tissue function and our vitality and all that kind of stuff. So it does make a lot of sense, and we know that there's a huge scientific literature that shows when we activate that process, when we're able to turn on the body's ability to make its own antioxidant enzymes, it's healthy. We know that it's good for arteries. We know it's good for brain cells. We know it's good for skin cells. We know it's good for the liver and the kidney and every single tissue that's ever been looked at before. it's better when you're activating this pathway, which we call the NERV2 pathway. I'll get into in just a little bit. But unfortunately, this is not what most people are doing. So here are some of the 20 studies that show that the Protandim formulation specifically activates this NERV2 pathway, specifically turns on our body's ability to make more of these protective antioxidants. And then in doing so, protects our cells and our tissues from damage, right? So that's a great place to be. But nobody knows about this yet, outside of the scientific community, really. What most people in the world are doing is not this, to protect themselves. What are most people doing? Lots of people out there in the wild, so to speak, have heard about antioxidants before, right? Antioxidant supplements are a multi-billion-dollar category within the nutrition industry. So people are, what are they doing? What are people doing right now? They're taking lots of what? Vitamins, like what? Like what are some of the antioxidant vitamins that you've heard of before? E and C, beta-carotene, selenium, and that, you know, not only is that not protecting them the way that they think it is, but it's actually causing damage. So there's an equally vast, even more vast scientific literature that shows that when you supplement that way, when you supplement with high-dose, isolated, synthetic antioxidants, not only are they not protecting you like you think, they're actually causing damage. Big damage. So big studies. These are not just weird, isolated studies. These are huge studies with tens of thousands of subjects, carried over years of duration, and published in some of the top scientific and medical journals in the world. And what we're seeing is vitamin E and increased risk of prostate cancer. We're seeing beta-carotene and increased risk of lung cancer. We're seeing antioxidant supplementation increasing skin cancer. We're seeing these supplements that are increasing mortality rates, right? What's a mortality rate? Death. Yeah, that's a pretty bad side effect, would you say? If you're getting more mortality than you ought to be getting, that's pretty bad, right? It's hard to come back from something like that. But so these kinds of studies, in my world, you know, when I go to the American College of Lifestyle Medicine next week, and I talk about this kind of stuff, most of the people in there are going to go, yeah, we've known about this for 10 years. Why are you telling us that? Right? Because I'm going to use this to lead into the whole NERV2 story. But it's very well understood and very well accepted within the scientific community, within nutrition, within medicine, but it hasn't gotten out into the general public yet, right? That isn't something that most people are aware of. And because of that, they're continuing to eat a lot of C and a lot of E and a lot of beta-carotene and a lot of all the rest, and causing problems. When this does tip, right, I'm working on a book right now to tell this story. It'll be out in mid-March. When that tips, and you know, Dr. Oz is starting to talk about it, and you start reading about it in USA Today, and you see it on, you know, the nightly news, then people are going to say to themselves, probably shouldn't be doing that anymore. What should I be doing? And the should be doing is activate your own internal systems to make antioxidants. And that is when everyone's going to beat a door to that. Everyone's going to beat a door to LifeVantage because we already have a 10-year head start and 20 studies showing that our products do exactly what your cells want, all right, from a health perspective.